What's going on, guys? We're going to be here talking about the latest episode of Skeleton Crew. It's going to be a smaller crew talking about it tonight. A couple people had to go do some stuff, and it's basically turning into a impromptu couples therapy. With that being said, let's talk about it. All right, we're here with the post credits talking about the latest episode of Skeleton Crew. It's probably going to be a shorter episode than we sometimes have because we don't have as many people talking about it here tonight with us. It's going to be just me and Brandi, and let's just go ahead and get to it. Brandi, what'd you think about tonight's episode?
I thought it was good. Very interesting in how they get back to at Atten, and you see that there's this big barrier type of thing, and it looks like a big storm. And they the kids get captured by the pirates, and they pull them into their ship. And Jude Law's character, who has many names, and I don't remember what he was going by in this episode, but he captured the kids. At first, he was captured himself, and then the kids, when they were on the ship, the leader of the pirates, the kids captured them in some claw thing, and then he got taken out. And then Jude Law's character decided he was going to be the leader, and then capture the kids and use them to get in. So it was an interesting episode. So the kids made it back home, but they're not out of the water just yet because Jude Law's character escaped with them onto their ship to get back in. And now he's seen all the gold, all the little pieces of gold.
I enjoyed the episode. It's probably one of my favorite episodes of the season so far. Out of the 7 episodes we've seen, I've only had one that I had some issue with. Like I said, it was just like things to me like I'm supposed to feel about a character that we just met in an episode, and it's a short episode. So to me, it just didn't have enough time to breathe for me to feel those like emotions that they probably could have played if they would have had at least, a little extra time either on the episode or if they would have been in that setting for like more than one episode, like 2 episodes. So instead of 8 episodes, we could have got 9, something like that with that particular episode. But the rest of them I've enjoyed. This right here is one of my favorite ones because like it is a kid show, but like in this episode, like it wasn't. So it gave you a taste of like not just being kiddie. There was like one thing that happened in this episode that was kind of like kind of the dumb luck thing that you would see like that had to happen, for
Mm-hmm.
in a show with kids and stuff like that in there, and how to make it make sense that they escape or whatever. Like the whole SM-33, who is becoming one of my favorite droids of all time in Star Wars, just to be honest with you. Pretty kick-ass droid. But she does the whole unclaimsies.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it's kind of dumb and cheesy, whatever for a kid's thing. And then like SM-33 kind of listens to her anyway, even though technically that's not how the pirate stuff works. I'm fine with it because of what show it is.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say this for like people out there, and I kind of get it to a certain point. Like, if you don't have kids of your own or something like that to watch a show like this with, or maybe even just some friends or something, and you're not like a huge fan that's just going to watch everything Star Wars, you're just going to wait and watch the stuff that you find interesting for yourself or whatever in Star Wars. I kind of do get the fact that like you don't just jump on it and watch it, but I will say that I'm glad I've watched this show so far because there's a lot of things, and especially this episode, it felt like Star Wars. So even that moment I just talked about that was kind of goofy. Well, there was kind of goofy things that happened in the original movies, not just prequels, not in the sequels or anything like that. So even the big time George Lucas Star Wars fans, you've got to admit in pretty much every movie that we had, there was a little bit of goofiness here and there in a couple of moments. And so it even kind of fit with that. But just the feel of Star Wars, it had the little bit of the sound there, uh,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and all that was just like really cool. I enjoyed it. I enjoy the Jude Law's character in this one right here. Didn't pull no
Can't
punches.
stand
He
him.
told, yeah, but like, and I'll say this: the last episode that we talked about, I was 100% sure that the whole kids are going to get maybe make it home, then some of the pirates going to be out there, and then Jude Law is going to have to make some kind of decision, maybe even sacrifice himself that ends up like helping the kids somehow or whatever to help them survive and whatnot. And like I will say this episode did a really good job of like making the show not that predictable anymore. Like I was 100% sure last week after watching that episode, but this week the way they did like the character of Jude Law's character, whatever name you want to use, he's got about 20 of them. Like his character did the deed tonight, told them kids to shut up, they're gonna keep quiet and do all the things that he says, or hey, he pulled out the lightsaber and said he was gonna like basically kill their families and stuff in there. So like, I mean, that's pretty hardcore for something that's made for kids. Like I said, I don't think it's 100% just all kids for this show, which I think is a pretty cool and nice touch to where it's like a little something for everybody kind of deal. Like you can still watch this with a family, even kids, even younger kids, and still have a good time and all that good stuff, which I think is also a pretty good thing, especially for Star Wars. But with this going down and the way Jude Law's character acted in this episode, I'm now at 60-40. I'm still pretty sure what that's going to happen. I'm still pretty sure Jude Law's character is going to do something good at the end that helps the kids. But this episode did a really good job of making me doubt that a little bit. Like I'm not 100% anymore. I'm a lot closer to almost 50-50 on it now. So that's one thing that's actually, I think they did really good. And like I said in one of the past episodes, great writing, good writing, not pretending everybody's stupid, is how you make good shows and stuff. And so far, I thought this has been pretty well done.
Yeah, when he told the kids to shut up, if I was one of those kids, I would have went.
Yeah, but you would have got that finger sliced off by that lightsaber. That's what would have happened. You would have got a.
Like, be quiet. I would have like.
You would have got your head chopped off like SM-33 did. Girl, you ain't fighting a lightsaber. Lightsaber take your ass out. 100%.
No.
But not like anything else that stood out for you, Brandi.
Well, we had the parents, so we started out with the parents trying to get a little signal thing sent up, and they were getting caught by the droids on their planet who were stunning them, and they were running and they were passing it. Whoever got stunned, the next person would grab it and run, and then they finally, the last Fern's mom was the last one to get it, and she was able to get the signal up. So you've seen that on the ship and them talking to the kids, but the pirates got it. So they had that. So they got that. So he now knows he knew what their parents looked like. So he's like, oh, good. Now I know what your parents look like, so I can carve them up too.
Right.
Basically.
We watched the Acolyte together and stuff, and this is one of those things like a moment where they send out this thing and all that makes it past the barrier. And this could have been just something kind of dumb. Maybe they get like a message out or whatever, and that's all it really is. It really doesn't mean a whole lot. If I was watching the show like The Acolyte, that's probably what would have happened. But in this show, I appreciate that even that little small thing of a cool little way of getting a message out for the kids and the parents to be able to say like, hey, don't be worried, get home, all this stuff.
You won't be in trouble,
Right. But it wasn't just that. The writers, the creators of the show were smart enough to be like, hey, we can do something like that. But then it also serves another purpose. And in that other purpose was now Jude Law sees their parents. Now he knows what they look like. He knows who they are. He makes that. And just something super good is they is like he just tells them straight up, like, now I'm glad I got to see your parents. Because now he knows who to chop down if they act up. Like, and that brings like that moment of like anxiety or fear or whatever, especially put yourself in those kid situations and everything else. Like, what would you do? Like, and that kind of deal. And no, I mean, that was just like In other shows, that could have been just a throwaway thing. It's like, oh well, the parents got a message out to the kids, and it not mean a whole lot. But in this instance, it means double. It means like you got the cool message the parents are able to relay, but on top of that, it plays a part in the story. Like it wasn't just like serving just like a purpose to serve a purpose. It had multiple purposes, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree.
You better.
What? I don't agree. I don't agree.
See, that's why. See, people, if you happen to watch this episode of the post credits, you'll understand why I was talking about Brandi get that head chopped off with the lightsaber, because she can't. She got to keep. She runs that mouth. Look, if you one of those kids, you run that mouth, you're getting taken care of. But the episode does end like, because you already pretty much described it. You know, you had the parents do that, then the pirates like had Jude Law's character under wraps. He's still trying to sell them like, oh yeah, we get to at and man, it's going to have this treasure. So he's able to keep himself alive a little bit longer. Then they end up trapping the kids into the tractor beam, because like they figured that ship's going to be a key to getting onto the planet. It turns out it was. So Jude Law's character actually knew that and everything. After a little bit of stuff, the kids end up escaping after SM-33 pretty much knocks everybody out for a little bit. They're able to escape and stuff and get back on the planet. But Jude Law stowed away in the ship. And he comes out, chops SM-33's head off with a lightsaber they had gotten in one of the other episodes. And people keep, like, as soon as they saw this is one thing I gotta say out there to the crowd of people that are actually Star Wars fans. Every time somebody uses a Force or gets a lightsaber, they're not a Jedi. They're not automatically Sith. Like, there are thousands, millions of planets that not even the Jedis all knew people that could use the Force. They missed kids. They couldn't get every one of them. That's not happening. Especially during this time of the Star Wars era. Like, there's going to be a lot of people out there that can use the Force, can manipulate it. They can do a couple of things that the Jedis can do because they learn it on their own or whatever. But they're not Jedis, man. This dude's obviously not a Jedi, but like we see him at the end of the episode. The parents get up with the kids, they're all hugging and stuff like that. And Jude Law's character, you know, steps out, pulls out the lightsaber, lights that sucker up. And
then it fades to black, because that's right. What they do.
Yep. And next week we're going to find out what the culmination of that is.
It's the perfect soap opera cliffhanger. That's what I call that.
But but no, I'm glad they did it. Like I said, because now I have doubts that like maybe, because the one bad thing I'd say about the show was, to me, it was going into that direction of being too predictable. So I love this episode because being before that last episode, just because of the simple fact of now it's not as predictable. I still think I'm right, but I don't think I'm right as much as I thought. So there still is going to be mystery on next week's episode whenever we watch it. There's still going to be this little hint of like, I don't know where it's going 100%. Also, if you're a fan of Star Wars, the next movie that's going to be coming out is going to be the Dave Filoni movie, and it's the Mandalorian and Grogu movie that's going to be happening. And supposedly there's going to be possibly 1 to 2 characters from this that are going to be showing up in that movie. So you also get to see, but I don't know which characters and that kind of thing that shows up. So it's going to be cool. I'm going to be on. It's going to be Steve Urkel's character. Which his voice, the thing he's doing with his voice on here, I would also say would be a negative. But to me, overall, that's a few, like a show can have some negatives in it. Not every show is going to be 100%. Oh, I think this is one of the best episodes ever. And not everything is going to be what feels like maybe perfection, obviously. Like Steve Urkel's voice in this show, that one episode that we had earlier that I didn't like as much. And, because I really feel like thinking about it right now, because that's all we got from anything from that episode, is that episode kind of could have just been thrown aside. I don't know like how much to me it really helped the story. I mean, I guess the biggest thing from that episode was for them to be able to get the coordinates. They found the place, like one of the other planets that was
Yeah.
kind of like theirs, that they were able to get the coordinates from. But they really didn't get the coordinates from there. They ended up having to go somewhere else to get the coordinates. But so I guess it did play a little bit of a part, but they almost could have tossed that episode aside, to be honest with you, now that you look at it. But beyond that, I think everything else is pretty positive. I'm having a fun time. I smile a few times during the episode when we watch it, enjoying the Star Wars, and it does feel like Star Wars. Besides that planet, as far as like whenever they were panning out in that first episode, and it looked like almost a normal neighborhood that you could see on Earth. Like besides that little bit of man, I'm not sure if this feels, but everything else to me felt like Star Wars and
Oh,
feels
like
like
the
Star Wars.
underground stuff that they had.
Yeah, the underground stuff's fine. it yeah. I mean, but the story feels like a Star Wars story, like I said, like
Mm-hmm.
um and they're to me, they're not trying, and it's not trying to be a copy of stuff either. To me, it doesn't feel like it's just trying to, oh, let's do this because this is Star Wars. It feels like they're telling an actual story, and they got in the Star Wars setting and in Star Wars universe, and it's working out. Like I actually think this series should be performing better than what it is on the charts. Um, definitely to me, this is a show that I didn't think a lot of. Didn't really. I was never excited for it. It came up, and after we had watched the Acolyte, I was like, man, I got to get something. I got to get something in me, Star Wars, just to kind of clear this out. And I was like, hopefully, the Skeleton Crew can do that, can cleanse my palate per se, and I think it has.
Mm-hmm.
Especially like if this last episode has a really cool like ending of a story and they land it pretty well, and I'm gonna feel pretty damn good about this show, and I think more people should have been watching it.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, people haven't gotten what they wanted in Star Wars for a little while, and it's starting to wane on them, and they're not just jumping on everything. Like I
Mm-hmm.
said, they're maybe waiting and seeing. Hopefully, this is one of those things that once the actual show is completely over with, like more and more people tell other people, like, "Hey, man, that show was actually pretty good. Like, I didn't mind it at all. It was not, it wasn't bad. I enjoyed it. I'm enjoying it, and
Mm-hmm.
100% Star Wars fan here. And I'm not a Disney suck up either. I'm damn well gonna tell you when Disney does something that's sucking. They've missed it a lot, and more recently than not. I do think there are some things out there that got judged unfairly. Like I don't hate the Solo movie. I like and enjoy the Solo movie. I think it's a little fun ride and adventure that you can have in Star Wars. Didn't have any problems with that movie at all. I mean, is it my favorite Star Wars movie of all time? No, but Rogue One's also was done very well and good. Overall, I understand it's a copy and I get like some people's points, but like when I watched it, I had a really good time watching The Force Awakens. First two seasons of Mandalorian was pretty good. Um, Ahsoka to me was hit or miss. My biggest drawback with that was they didn't do a very. I like the guy that was playing Thrawn. I just didn't like they Thrawn was having too many misses to be one of the smartest people in the land. I mean, that's in the galaxy pretty much, and like that just kind of was getting to me.
Mm-hmm.
But they've had a lot more misses than hits recently, and it's starting to affect their bottom line. So hopefully, this is something that gets the word of mouth out there, and more and more people will watch it. I definitely recommend it for families, but I recommend it for anybody. There's something to enjoy actually in this thing, and it's not like I'm sitting back here, oh God, barely getting through this episode. I'm actually enjoying the episodes,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not even that long. So, with that being said, you could watch them pretty quick. So, like, it wouldn't even take you that long to kind of binge the series afterwards. So, I highly recommend people out there to watch the series. But with that being said, Brandi, if you got any last thoughts or whatever, you can go ahead and throw your score of this episode on there and what you think about the series so far going into the finale.
I like the series. This is fun to watch. I actually enjoyed this one, and I'm not yelling at you guys like, why did you make me watch this? Which I've done with before. Like, why did you make me watch this? One thing I was like, Jude Law's character when they went down in the core of and he asked how many vaults were like this there, and I think they said 1139. So like that many vaults in that filled with those coins, the
Oh
Republic
yeah.
things. Like, holy crap, that's a lot. And everybody in the like world, like, where do you get that? Like, and these just they have like over 1,000 vaults with these
Yeah,
coins filled up in
1,139 is not just a simple like throw out their number. I mean, it kind of is because like it
Mhm,
doesn't really mean anything for the show. It just means that there's a bunch of these vaults.
mhm,
But it goes back. It's like a little nod to George Lucas. He's used that number.
mhm,
Um, before I think it was like THX, whatever he had going on. So like that's just a little nod to him, which is kind of cool. Whatever, throw
mhm,
him a bone out there. But no, man, I got to congratulate John Watts, the guy that's been putting this show together.
mhm,
And it's weird to me how two of these, I think I've said it before, but two of these projects they worked on that probably was looked at from the big company Disney as a whole, like the Lucasfilm, were probably like, hey, we're just going to let these directors do whatever they want to do and make a good show, and we're not going to worry about it as much because they're not one of our top characters. It seems like because they did that with Andor, it seems as well. They
mhm,
didn't really step in as much, it didn't seem like. And it looks like the two best shows so far, or two best seasons of shows or whatever that they put out here, are two of the best, is the two that they didn't really probably care as much about.
mhm,
And they wasn't stepping in and saying things about, and they're probably giving the directors more of a chance to actually create something there without nobody looking over their shoulder. So,
mhm.
I
So I this so this series I'd give it an 8.5 as a whole. This episode was probably like a 7.5, 8 for me. So far, this series is an 8.5 for as a whole.
nice. I mean, I'm not gonna go that high, but I still enjoy it. I think the series as a whole is like a 7.5, B plus,
Mhm,
almost A minus kind of situation
mhm,
there. Uh, but I'm enjoying it, and I'm a Star Wars fan. So,
mhm,
like I said, I hope a lot of other Star Wars fans don't just sit back there and automatically assume it's crap, because this actually is it's pretty fun little journey. It's not bad at all. Like I give it props. Like I said, I would be excited if they were to tell me, announce next week that John Watts had another plan or another story to tell in Star Wars that was something new, maybe a more of an adult oriented kind of thing. That I'd probably be hyped. I'd probably be hyped because I actually think he did a good damn job with this. Uh, I'm not as emotionally invested in stuff in this because it is like geared for younger crowd. It is geared more for that. And I'm fine when something's really good for that and family stuff. So I don't like hate on family stuff, but I'm a little more hardcore. I'm an adult now, so like some of that stuff's gonna do the thing. Yeah,
hardcore. You're not
yeah, I'm a
hardcore.
little I'm
You're
hardcore as
not
hell.
hardcore at all.
I'm
You're
hardcore.
you're a big teddy bear.
Yeah, whatever.
I
Hey,
would like this series. I don't
you don't
care.
want to wake up the big ass teddy bear when his ass ain't happy. You know what I'm saying? Bam.
You're you're always gonna be happy with me. Don't worry about it.
What it is, what it is. All right. But that being said, yeah, man, I hope more and more people start watching this. It's a damn shame because I think like some of the projects before this one has hurt this project from being able to be seen by as many people. And I hope that unlike some of the other projects that get thrown out there and then they go away, I hope this one gains momentum because Andor did the same thing. Not a lot of people jumped on Andor at first, but then they started hearing some good things. And Andor's been watched by more and more people enjoyed it. The word of mouth started getting out there. So I hope this kind of happens for the Skeleton Crew because I actually think it's pretty damn decent. I mean, no joke, no lie. Like I said, I'll tell you when I don't like shit. I'll tell you.
Oh, he will.
I don't be kissing that Disney butt. Actually, I don't like Disney as a company, to be honest with you. So if I have the chance to like trounce it, I'm going to trounce it. But I'm not going to just do it blindly either. I see a lot of people out there that just because Disney is involved, that it's automatically crap. That's not me. It's not what I'm going to do. I am about 50-50 to 60-40 on the projects of Star Wars has been done since Disney's taken over. But I'm not just going to be negative just to be negative until I actually see the stuff. And then I'm going to make my own judgment and my own judgment calls on those projects. And I think that's how everybody should be. And I know people are not going to agree with me on everything, and they shouldn't. But when every project gets put out, you go at it hard negatively just because it's done by Disney and everything else, and you don't like Disney. That's just, I mean, what are you doing at that point?
If everybody agreed on everything, this world would be a very boring place.
But I will say,
now.
like, I'm a principled man. So I will say, for those out there that love and cuddle everything that Disney does, like the total opposite of that is just as bad and sometimes worse. Okay? I'm going to say that. Like, you just come out and everything that Disney does, you over there like kissing that butthole. Yep. Kissing that butthole.
You had to get butthole in there, didn't you?
You're kissing that butthole. Like, look, I don't agree with that either, but I also don't agree with like you just being 100% negative on it just because Disney's doing it. Because, like I said, John Watts made a pretty good show here, and I do think Gilroy did a pretty good show with Andor. And because of that, I'm pretty excited to see Andor season 2 when it comes out, because that's one of the next projects that'll be coming out. Dave Filoni, I think, has been kind of hit or miss. So hopefully he can put together a good movie, and hopefully the James Mangold movie goes on in production and gets made, Dawn of the Jedi. And I hope freaking James Mangold knocks it out of the park, because as a Star Wars fan, I just think if he knocks that one out of the park and people love that time period, we're going to get more and more of the Old Republic, which, oh my God, I would love every second of it, to be able to see Darth Malgus, maybe even Revan down the road. I mean, whatever. But I'm also scared to let them touch some of that crap because they might screw it all up. So,
Andor one, was that one out last year around Thanksgiving when I was by you?
yes, it probably was.
Okay. I think that's the one I fell asleep on.
But yeah, with that being said, man, to everyone out there, may the force be with you.
What did you give this episode?
Like this episode in particular, I think I may have just gave the grade for the season so far.
You did.
I give this episode like A-, 8.
An 8?
Yeah.
Okay. We're in the same kind of wavelength.
No, yeah, I enjoyed this episode. Like I said, it's one of my favorite episodes. The only reason why it gets to a certain point, this one's going to be able to be only maxed out at a certain thing, because like when we watched The Penguin, I was able to get to the 9s. I don't think this show can get that to me, just because of what kind of show overall it is. Like House of the Dragon, most of those episodes I'd be looking at like 8.5, 9 scores. This one's going to be like maybe get to around an 8.5 at the top. And that means that this last episode kills it, like does a really good job.
Fair.
I mean, it's like you when you watch horror movies that we watch for couples therapies. Like, you're not going to give none of them a 9.
Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. I don't like them.
Well, guys, may the force be with you. And until next time, peace.